What's going on a Monday that feels like a Sunday? How's everybody doing? All eight of you all that have decided to join me tonight. Y'all good? Y'all have a good holiday? Y'all tired of your relatives? Y'all tired of your guests? Y'all tired of cooking, putting up food? What you doing? Everybody good? Just wanted to kind of have a little powwow. Hey, Vic to the Veil. Let me pull up this so I can see who's all here. I got Dimples Wimples. I got Pinocchio, the professionist in checkers. That's a great name. Very Cherry is here. Jackson Tabasco. What's going on, family? Vicky, not Vicky. Put flames in the chat. Yes, indeed. Just wanted to just jump on tonight. I'm chilling. My team is losing, which seems to be a trend this particular college football season, but I'll get over it. Just wanted to drop in and see if we could just have our conversation on colorism tonight. I know that this tends to be the topic that I don't know how every time we get together we end up talking about it. So I said let's just talk about it and let's just have a conversation. One leg off is in the building. Sound checker net is in the building. Sheila M in the building. Old Man Johnson's farm down by Old Man Johnson's farm. Man, every time I see your name, I think about that song. How's everybody doing? Everybody good? Yes, Jackson Tabasco says, welcome everyone. Welcome. I appreciate y'all spending time with me this evening. Not gonna try to keep y'all up all night. I mean, unless you just want to be up all night, but I gotta go to my black job tomorrow, so won't be me. But Miss HLS is in the building. Got flames in the chat too. Yes, indeed. Glad to see you come through. Um, but absolutely, Jet Blackstreet. Yes. Uniquely Sonya. All right. Flames in the chat. Flames in the chat. Thank you all so much. But I did want to just have this conversation and get a little bit more insight. I will drop the link momentarily. So if you have a story to tell or if you just want to express whatever it is about this, because I know that we as Black people, we go through this, whether it's from inside the family, outside the family, inside the community, outside the community. We all go through this thing where it's light skin, dark skin, black skin, Creole skin, whatever skin, hey red, hey yellow bone. We have all these terms and everything. So it's just an interesting dynamic that we have that I want to say it's unique to us, but I think I've been told that it happens in Hispanic communities as well. But I'm interested in learning what I can learn. I don't know everything, but I do want to say hello to some more people that have come in. Just Nikki's here, uh, prominent woman. I'm gonna tell y'all something. She might be a prominent woman, but I'm gonna tell y'all this: prominent woman is hilarious. You will laugh at prominent woman. She keeps me laughing all the time. Just Nikki says hello to the chat. And please remember to hit the like button as you come in or as you enter out. Dimples Wimples, please hit the mother loving like button. That's how I picture that she's saying it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's how you're saying it. So let's get the party started. Let's talk about it. So um, I'm really interested. First of all, let me start like this. To anyone that's listening to this, to anyone, whether it's on the replay, whether you're listening live, whether you are in the clouds, in the bushes, whatever, I just want you to know you are enough. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not. Don't let anybody tell you that you need to be something else. You are enough. You are. You are beautiful, you are loved, and you are blessed. And that is whether you have a profile picture on here or not. You are what you are created to be. So, that being the case, and that being said, let's talk about it. I'm going to drop the link. And I just want to know what everybody, what you have to say about this particular issue, about this particular subject. And I can tell you that from my own experience, like I'm always been a darker brother, and honestly and truly wouldn't have it any other way. Now, have people made me feel bad about that? Yes. Yes. Are there people that have tried to, say derogatory things about my skin? Yeah, they have, but I'm not. I feel like my complexion is not like dark where I received just a lot of angst behind it. So it hasn't been as big a deal as it has been for other people. So, but I feel like I've experienced it. I've never wanted to make anybody else feel, a certain way because they light or dark. My dating preferences have always been both. So that's been my thing. My only requirement is that you be black. You can be dark skinned, you can be light skinned. I don't care as long as you're black, because then we have stuff to talk about. So, but but that's just been my experience. But I know that, like, from what I've when I speak to people who are of darker complexion, or when I hear people say things like, "Oh, you pretty for a dark skinned girl," the hell does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like these backhanded compliments and things like that. And I realize that, as we talk about skin bleaching and things like that, that these words, these things that we say to each other about each other can have a deep impact. So, you know, again, I just, want to get everybody's opinion on this. We can have this conversation. And ladies and gentlemen, to start this conversation, I have the one, I have the only Dimples.
Woohoo!
That's what I'm talking about.
How you doing, Native?
Listen, it's been one hell of a weekend. I'm good. I'm good. We got some Steve Harvey love tonight.
Right,
I
right.
had I had to express myself
You
about
did
Mr.
amazing.
Mr. Harvey. Not a fan. Actually, look. I actually got a comment that said, "You don't like Steve Harvey." I'm like, did I make it obvious? Like,
There's the sign.
it was
Clearly.
you don't like Steve Harvey with a question mark. That they was really trying to figure like, wait, do you like him or no? No, no. But yeah, look at Miss Buckeye, man. Miss Buckeye coming in with the super sticker. Thank you so
All
much
right,
for supporting the channel.
thank you.
I know. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, Miss Buckeye. I appreciate you so much. I really, really do. Um,
Nice.
so Dimples Wimples,
Mm-hmm.
what you got to say?
Okay, so what I have to say is, as far as colorism, of course, me, uh, growing up in New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
that has always been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So from me being this little chocolate, little girl,
Mm-hmm.
I've been, picked on by family members because my mother, she is of a lighter skin tone, and my father is a darker skin tone. So of course, I, the middle child, took after him, and my two siblings took after my mother. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would get teased and called black, burnt biscuit,
Mm-hmm.
um, microwave, uh, Lord, you name it, whatever went with black, I was called that. To being called, adopted. I mean, everything you could possibly think of, I was
Mm-hmm.
called. And, for a long time, like, that really affected me, as oh, that really affected me, as a little girl or whatever, because I didn't know any better. Here I am, sitting there like that hurt me for a long time. But now I've healed from it. I do have a daughter and a son, and I tell my daughter every day, do not let no one tell you you are less than, you are
Mm-hmm.
not beautiful, you
Mm-hmm.
are a beautiful, stunning,
Mm-hmm.
brown skin, dark skin, little girl. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't ever let nobody tell you otherwise. So yeah, yeah.
So, So let me ask you this. So,
Mhm.
what did it take for you to turn that corner? You know what I mean? Like, what did it
Yeah.
take for you to say, like, like to block out everything that you had heard about you and realize who you were? Like, what did that take, or what was that process, or is it an ongoing process? Like, because I mean, sometimes we think that when we get grown, like all the stuff from behind from before goes away. So, what was it like, or what would you say was your process?
I would say my process, I guess, just eventually getting older and, kind of blocking out, whatever they, would say about me, and
Mm-hmm.
also speaking up for myself at some point in time. So now, if I do hear it, whether it's from, family, or say, a longtime friend of, the families or whatever, I'm gonna straight up tell you, you call me that again, I'm gonna whoop your ass, like point
Okay.
blank, period.
All right. All right. All right. Look,
Like,
look. When you said that, you took me back to my Abbeville days. When you said that, like you took me right back to the front porch. You heard me? I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds so
yeah,
familiar. Okay.
like, yeah, like what you're not gonna do, is, continue to disrespect me. Like as a little girl, like I said, I mean, I was real quiet, shy.
Mm,
I wasn't, confrontational or anything like that. But
mm,
growing up, I found my voice and I was like, F this. Like, you're not gonna keep, saying these things to me and thinking you could get away with it. So now it's like, if I do hear it, I'm
mm.
going to straight up tell you, you call me that again, I'm going to whoop your ass.
Right, right, right,
I
right, right.
will F you up. Like,
Look, look. D Dub said those rebels got hands, and you can catch them. You can catch them.
yes, you could catch it all. Like, you could catch it all. But, like I said, it's just one of those things that unfortunately that's how I grew up or whatever. And this was
Mm,
from uncles, cousins, like I said,
mm,
uh family friends, even, my brother's friends, felt like they could call me black.
mm.
Negro, nigga, that's not my name. Like if
Right,
you can't call me my goddamn name, then don't call me nothing at all.
right, right, right. Yeah. Yeah, but I think like it's like, but why do you think that that's a put down? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like if somebody said you're orange, you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like ain't nobody gonna think nothing about that. But if they really want to hit you hard,
Hmm.
you black. Look at you, black. You black, black, black. You know, it's like black has been associated with, with something negative, something bad, something. It's just like why do you think that we came to that point where black is like the ultimate insult for somebody? Because when I was a kid, that's all you had to do was call somebody you black, your mama black. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
like you know what I mean? Like how did we get here?
That's a good question. To be honest with you, I really don't know. I mean, because like I said, you know, I guess by both of my parents being um of different hues,
Hmm.
um, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, I was just a dark skinned, little girl. I had, long, thick hair, like all the way, down to my butt,
Hmm.
and I don't know. Like maybe it was jealousy. I really don't know. I
That's
couldn't tell
interesting.
you.
That's
I
interesting.
couldn't tell
That's interesting.
you. I
Ebony
mean,
says,
uh,
Ebony says, I'm a dark skinned woman whose name literally means black. Thanks to my father, I never felt less than anyone.
wow.
Um, and I think this is an important comment, right? I always say, so I don't have any children, but I've dated
Mhm,
women with children, and the interactions that they have with the father of their child is always interesting to me because because I feel like children need that like what Ebony got. They need that love, they need that reassurance from a parent. you know and I feel like when they don't have that, when that's not there, it could be a cousin, it could be a stepbrother, it could be a play cousin. Nobody can give that to you like a father can. And I think
Right,
that Ebony is super super blessed to be able to have that sort of backing with her.
right, right. I mean, like I said, I don't know, if my parents really caught on to, that affecting me. I mean, my mom, she did or she would, say something. However, maybe it wasn't enough. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
stopping it altogether, like, hey, don't call my daughter that,
Hmm.
like that's not nice. Like, don't do that. I don't
Hmm.
know. But like I said, me, being a parent now, like nobody can ever, call my children black. I better not
Hmm.
hear that shit at all.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. It's
It
very
is. And I
interesting.
listen, I had my sister, my older sister, when she had left the guy that she was married to and came back to Florida, and she was trying to get back on her feet. So she had a roommate. And this particular roommate, she said that every night that she would get down on her knees and thank God that she wasn't dark skinned.
Whoa.
I'm like, what? Like, wait, what? You you thank God for
What?
what? Yeah, she was light skinned, and she said that she would get down on her knees every night. She heard her pray when she said her prayers before she went to bed, and one of the things that she said every night was that she thanked God she was not dark skinned. And all I could think of was, okay, well, that's kind of a waste of a prayer. You got like kids in Africa that's starving. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you know, like what the hell? Like you could have prayed for other stuff. What if God is only taking one prayer this night and it's your prayer and like it's just, oh, I'm just glad I ain't dark skinned. You know, um,
Wow.
I just don't I don't get it.
That's
Um,
very
I,
interesting.
it is, but there's like this prevailing attitude amongst some, and I'm not going to categorize everybody like this, but there is this prevailing attitude amongst some people that are of lighter complexion that their complexion is like the key to their success or the key to them living well in America or just getting a date. You know what I mean? And I hate the you're pretty for a black girl. Oh my God, that is the
I
worst.
hate that as well.
That
Yes.
is the worst. That is the worst.
Yes. I despise that.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Dimples. I'm gonna tell you right now. The reason I watched Snowfall, the reason why I watched Snowfall, I had heard about it. Like it took me a couple of years. Like it was like season 3 by the time I got into it. But the reason why I was like, let me check this out and I'm gonna watch this show and see what is going on. When they put that camera on Damson Idris, I had never heard of this guy. But when
Hmm.
they put that camera on him and I saw how dark he was, I was like, I'm watching this. The lead character, you have to admit, it's not that often that you see the lead of a show be that complexion.
That's very true.
To me, it was a bold move. And to me, whoever was putting this on, I was like, yes, this is my tribe. I have to watch this show now because, because working in music and no matter where you worked in music, it was predominant. Like you could have a Biggie Smalls be his complexion, but I guarantee if you go back and watch that any of Biggie Smalls videos, he's the only person of his complexion in that video.
That's true.
And producers have run from dark skin forever. So to see a show where that camera comes in on on Franklin and Franklin is that because they could have made Leon, they could have made anybody could have been that lead, but they took the darkest brother. And yes, he is from England, he is from the United Kingdom, I get it. But they took the darkest brother they could find outside of Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes is like the dark standard. They took somebody that was as dark as Wesley Snipes and made him the lead in this show, and I was super impressed by that because that just doesn't happen that often. Old Man Johnson's Farm points out Morris Chestnut, Blair Underwood, and Omar Epps. See, Morris Chestnut wouldn't say lead. Let me see. Blair Underwood. Last time I saw him, he was slapping somebody in a Medea movie. And and just I'm just being honest. and, and Omar Epps. Let's see. Last time we saw Omar Epps was in.
Ooh,
When the last time we
when was
seen
the last
Omar?
time we seen Omar Epps?
I don't know.
When he
Um,
was in the movie with Paula Patton?
that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
I don't
That
know.
sounds about right.
Like
I
I don't
mean, and I'm
know.
not saying there aren't dark brothers in Hollywood. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
saying that lead character, like Snowfall was about Franklin Saint. It's that he was the main character. Morris Chestnut got blown away in Boys in the Hood. Blair Underwood was slapping people in the movies, and Omar Epps runs in every movie he's in. So, um,
They said he's in the Deliverance, the new movie Deliverance.
we're not gonna go there tonight. Okay, so
Oh, okay.
I heard that. I heard that is.
Oh, okay.
I heard that is not good. But guess
Oh,
what? We
oh
do
wow.
have.
Okay.
Oh, look at
Interesting.
misbehaving. Look at you. Y'all try.
Oh, she's so
Are y'all
sweet.
trying to make? Don't come on now. Come on. I'm trying to.
Oh.
I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to get emotional tonight. I'm not trying to get emotional. Misbehaving. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I do
I,
have one more point, and then I'll drop down because I'm pretty sure you have more people want to come up.
I actually don't. I actually don't.
Oh, oh, okay.
Everybody's full from
Oh,
they Labor Day meal. So
okay.
well, what you got? What you got?
So I was just gonna say, like, I told you, my brother and my sister, they're both of lighter hues, and my brother made it a point because he
Mm-hmm.
is a colorist to have or reproduce children with
Mm-hmm.
only women of lighter skin.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he I've never seen him date a darker, complexion woman. Never, ever to this day.
Have you ever had the conversation with them though? Like, have you ever asked them like why that is? Because I'm curious as to that mindset because I've never had it.
Um, I I want to say I have, but I didn't get a answer. So I just, kind of left those things or left that, alone or whatever. But
Okay.
all of his children are light skinned,
Okay.
all
Got
of
it.
them.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, I guess that's what he prefers, which I, it's fine. But yeah, I don't know what it is, with him and dark skinned women. I
I mean,
couldn't
I'm
tell.
good with preferences. Like if your
Yeah.
movie, I mean, if you like what you like, you know what I mean. I think that that's cool. But
Hmm.
but it's when it's the bashing. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like it's the
Yeah.
bashing of the thing that you don't like is where
Right.
I get like concerned. Like well, I don't like them because blah 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 blah. Look at their hair, blah blah blah. Look at her
Hmm.
hair; it's not straight. You don't have to
Hmm.
bash the one thing just because it's the bashing part that I don't get. But I think that's an interesting thing. Um,
Yeah.
Pinocchio the Professionist in Checkers, one of the best names I've seen. I love this name. Um, let me put another stereotype. It seems to be a little bit more acceptable for a man to be dark skinned than a woman.
Hmm.
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 You might be onto something with that.
I
I
can
think
see
so.
that.
I think so.
I can see that. Yeah.
I think so. But I tell you what, Dimples. I tell you what I'm
Hmm.
gonna do. Um,
Hmm.
I'm gonna bring up Miss Boogie down. I appreciate you coming up,
Uh-huh.
and
No problem.
we gonna have this discussion with Miss
Yes,
Boogie.
sir. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
Dimples in the building. Miss Boogie down. Come
Hola,
on up.
native.
Come on up. What is going on?
Hola, native.
How
How are
you?
you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's your holiday?
It was excellent. It was excellent. Yes, yes, it was excellent. Once again, I'm getting my little starstruck them on right now. I'm excited. I'm excited. Had a good
There's no
weekend.
reason to be starstruck. Usher is not here. Usher's not here.
Let me
Who
tell
else
you,
people
I'm gonna
like?
make you laugh real quick about that damn Usher canceling this concert down here. And I had a house full of Negroes who thought
Uh-oh.
it was wise to come down from New York because they were like, no, we want to see the concert there because he's gonna do the damn thing. And that sucker got canceled. So don't get me started on Mr. Usher Raymond. I ain't a
Okay.
fan right now, but I was a
Okay.
fan. Yeah,
Okay.
prior
All right.
to those tickets. And
Understandable.
now
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
host a bunch of Negroes and entertain them like I'm Ursha. Ain't nobody paid me. Nobody
Wow.
paid me
Wow.
at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You
Wow.
struck a nerve, sir. You struck a
Look,
nerve.
look, everybody. Look, everybody. Y'all show y'all show Miss Boogie down some love. She going through some things tonight, please. She going through some things.
I'm going through some things, but I got Dimple Wimples back. I love that. That's right. She just appears to me in my making up visions. I just appear this pretty brown skinned girl with like dimples. That's what I see for her. Like really deep dimples. Like when she's talking, I see her dimples are coming out. That's
Can I
what.
tell you a secret? Can I tell you a secret
Yeah. Yes.
that I'm sharing with everybody that's watching and everybody that replays this?
Yes.
Due to my attachment to New Orleans, I have always been like I am the biggest fan of New Orleans women. I
Oh.
have always been, and like I've just had the, and that, I mean, and of course there's always the aesthetics, but it's also just the best conversations, the best cooks, the best. Just I just love New Orleans women. So when Dimples
Yeah.
Wimples come up, I'm always honored and grateful for her presence, and but it's just because of like my whole attachment to the city and my aunt living out there, and growing up having all the summer times and crawfish and etouffee and beignets and all that stuff that came along with it. So, I'm a little partial to that. So
I didn't
that's
get
just
put on, unfortunately, until my adult years. I used to start going to the little Essence Festival right before Katrina.
mhm.
And when I realized that them people were sitting on that good food out there, I was mad. I was mad because I was like, see, this ain't right. This ain't right. You hear about certain places. I was like, why are we sleeping on New Orleans and this food? Because I'm a foodie and I just want to know why we were sleeping on New Orleans and the food.
Yeah.
Nobody told me. And I had to discover New Orleans and some good food at like probably about, I want to say 27, 28-ish.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was like, all these years I've been thinking I've been eating good, but then I get out there and I actually got to experience some real good down cooked food and nobody was telling me about them. I was like, yeah, okay.
So
Okay, that's
imagine like I'm 47. So imagine my experience is starting at 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like
oh,
6 years old. So I'm
oh.
such a snot. Like people hate taking me places. Like they hate taking me places where there's like New Orleans style food because Atlanta
Cause
got a thing about
like this ain't
Atlanta
it.
got a thing about like, oh, it's New Orleans style. It's New Orleans style. I'm like,
It
okay,
ain't. It
whatever.
ain't. Right.
Whatever. Y'all can take these little hard donuts away. These are not beignets. So but but anyway, a
Yes.
little
I
so
love
let
the
me go.
colorism topic and so my family, we are actually the reverse of everything y'all have been kind of talking about. So
Hmm.
the dark skinned people win in my family. It's the light skinned people that get shunned on. And it's terrible to me because it's back to what we were talking about yesterday in terms of just self-hatred, not to
Hmm.
reiterate all of those topics, but just in terms of self-hatred that's been taught to us by us. Like it's just sad. So my mom very very much rest her soul, very very dark woman. My dad very high, as they say out here, high yellow, right? And so I've had the pleasure of being blended, but it never really had. Didn't realize myself. I pretty much was. I guess I was like a colorist, but I was a colorist with prejudice because I just wanted growing up somebody that reminded me of my dad. My dad used I mean I know what it's like to go to school dances or father daughter dances. My dad participated in that with me and my sisters. I have a older sister that's almost 11 years older and I have a younger sister that's 4 years younger. So my
Hmm.
dad was very much there, especially from me and my younger sister. I'm sure definitely my older sister because that's the firstborn and it's a girl. But my sisters both very much followed my father's complexion, and me and my brothers are kind of like on my mother's side of the complexion. I think I'm just a blend really of both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a younger sister that's very much very close to my dad's, like if you will, high yellow complexion, and my older sister is kind of like that bronzy kind
Mm-hmm.
of golden kind of color, if you will. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I'm grateful that I
Mm-hmm.
did not have those issues, but I seen the reverse. My
Okay.
mother's mom was very, very much a colorist, very dark skinned woman. And I don't know, my grandmother, she was alive today, bless her, she'd be 104. So I don't know what she experienced in her childhood,
Mm-hmm.
but she was not a fan of light skinned people. She was not a fan of my dad. My mother probably had the lightest husband, and she was not a fan of my dad at all. And I think it was because of the fact that he was just like like I said yesterday, my dad, everybody loves my dad. He's just got that personality that you just gravitated to. He's a fun guy, he's a funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandmother really couldn't even tell you why she just wasn't a fan, other than the fact that you can't make this up. She said that my dad didn't buy my mother a house before having kids. That was her reasoning for not liking my dad. So it's four girls. My mother
Mm-hmm.
was number three,
Mm-hmm.
and all of their husbands provided, I guess, a house before having their children and stuff like that. And my dad didn't. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, he was the outcast.
Wow.
That was the excuse. But we're the the opposite. Now my brother, he's pretty much like my complexion, maybe a little bit darker, and he will not entertain a light skinned woman. He
Mm.
only like brown skinned women. My other brother that lives down in the Atlanta area as well, he
Mm-hmm.
pretty much himself, he sticks to brown skinned women. Once in a blue, I remember him dating because he's only 4 years older, and I remember him having maybe a lighter skinned girlfriend here and there, but he's been married twice, currently on his second marriage, and both of his women have been brown skinned women. So it's the opposite I've seen in my immediate family. Like everybody is for pro chocolate, if you will. My younger sister will date guys her complexion. And I love that for her too, because I think we all that's the problem. We're not comfortable in the skin that we're in,
Right.
So it's
Right.
nice to see her date her complexion as well. Like I said, me personally, I pretty much gravitated until maybe like my mid to late 20s. I pretty much gravitated to lighter skin men, but I don't think it was because I had a problem with dark skinned men. I think it was more so just I just wanted somebody who very much mirrored my dad, who is very light skinned. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And it was
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
was the attraction. But I didn't have a problem with the brown skinned brothers. I didn't get approached by them either. I pretty much got approached by the lighter skinned brothers, and that's pretty much was where the history was.
Interesting. Interesting.
So it's the opposite for us.
Gotcha. I have added Black Auntie and I have added
I love
Misbehaving to
that
the
name,
stage.
Black.
I'm interested. I'm interested. Black Auntie. I love that name just because of the simplicity. But Misbehaving is still on mute. But I'm interested in getting everybody's take. This is an interesting discussion because the one common thread that I'm hearing through all of this is family, is parents, is that encouraging words from the people that are closest to us. So Black Auntie, what is your story?
Well, for me, I'm the youngest of four.
Mm,
And in my family, we were just different shades of brown. There was no extreme difference in color. So it
mm,
never played a part in anything that went on in my family. Even for the extended family, because my oldest aunt, she had a different father and she was very light, very
mm,
light.
Mm-hmm.
But she had three kids. Her oldest daughter was her complexion. Her son was kind of in the middle between her and her husband, who was very dark, and her youngest was, my complexion, dark skin. So, but we never even. I mean, my mom came from a huge family. She's the second oldest of 17.
Mm-hmm.
So never was an issue. And I don't know if it's the times. I was born in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't an issue for me. It didn't become it really I would say for me it became an issue maybe at puberty,
Mm-hmm.
going into like middle school, high school and attention. And I did, maybe a little bit that kind of played into it because of course I'm not naive. I know that my very best friend for over 30 years was we met in junior high, well, middle school if you want to call it that,
Mm-hmm.
and she always got a lot of attention. She was a pretty girl. And she was
Mm-hmm.
light skinned, and so she was cute and petite. But
Mm-hmm.
we were really good friends, and I knew her story, and her story wasn't different from mine as a woman. So for me, it wasn't an issue of our skin complexion, and then to the competition because that's where it really kind of comes into play with the competition over the spoils of the battle, the men.
Mm-hmm.
I listen, I don't know where this came from for me. I understood very clearly early on that people just have preferences. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, if they were attracted to my friend, that's their type. I'm not going to worry about that. And that's
Okay.
something, I mean, I'm in my 50s now and just listening to this
Mm-hmm.
so conversation and it's been had many places. I just like, I think around 16, I just decided this is the color I'm going to be for the rest of my life. So I might as well get with it. And I'm not naive to believe, well, in my opinion, there is some advantages to having a lighter complexion.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, especially when you start working and going into like corporate America and things of that nature. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot tell you how many times I've seen, um, certain people who are lighter kind of get put on a path. They're kind of, and it's not that to say it wouldn't happen to me because I just never wanted that. So I always wonder,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, am I being biased? I just never wanted to do that. But I guess what it really kind of put everything in perspective to me as an adult. My sister, after she had her oldest son, my middle sister, and she was, if you want to say light skin, she was probably the lightest one in our family. She had more of a caramel complexion. She has yellow undertones, but she's still brown.
Mm-hmm.
But after she had her son, she started getting these spots on her hands, and she
Mm-hmm.
started sitting around her nails, and then eventually it started to spread. Well, basically, she has vitiligo, and then
Mm-hmm.
we looked at an old picture of my mother's father, and I remember always looking at that picture when I was little, and he has
Mm-hmm.
spots on his face. Well, it's hereditary. My sister has vitiligo. Her hands are snow white, and she has spots on her face, like prominent spots on her face that are she has no melanin. Her autoimmune system fights against her melanin.
Mm-hmm.
So she wears makeup and you can't tell with her face, but her hands, she kind of just let that go. And there's spots like even in her scalp and her legs, but she's gotten past that. I don't even see it to be quite honest. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see because I see her all the time. But
Right.
that just
Right.
kind of tell we're just that's just all superficial. That is just all superficial. And and of course we know what drives that coming from the slave house, coming
Sure.
from,
Sure.
all of that. But for me, when I look at it personally, I was always good at protecting my peace. I'm not going to sit and chase a man who does not like me, that will call me anything, out of my name or reference my skin tone as being, something negative. And I've
Right.
always tend to focus on the people who I was attracted to. So if a guy was attracted to me and I got accused of only liking light skinned men, I was like, wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute, those are the only ones that approach me.
Right.
So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go fight for the dark skinned man? He
That
don't
doesn't.
need me. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do that.
Yeah.
So
He's
I
not
think
paying attention.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I'll be interested because I honestly I'm gonna be quite honest, native tribe. From your picture, you look like you are a dark skinned man. And
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like, especially I grew up in the 80s, 90s. During that time, those are the years of the Jordan deck era, and dark skin was in. Chocolate man was just in.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, or how do you, or maybe you addressed it before I came in here, but I never gave you guys a pass of as experiencing some of the things that I did as a woman, or I was, I know that could be an issue as to
Yeah.
why somebody won't look my way. I mean, that is weird. And I
Yeah.
guess, like I said, to even say that I just had to block all of that out so I can, protect my peace. I never really thought of it that way. That
Hmm.
my skin color is the reason why a guy wouldn't look at me.
I will answer like this. There was a reason why Biggie put in his song black and ugly as ever. Like when you are of a certain complexion, there is a and what made it worse was that my best friend at the time was light skinned. So when we would go out, there was definitely disparage in how he was treated by the women and how I was like especially like standing in proximity to him, right? So like I'm this is my friend, and everything, but they would all gravitate his way and I would be, but here's the difference. I had the personality. He didn't. So so there was a lot of buyer's remorse when it came down to actually getting to know him because he just wasn't fun. So there was that part, but yeah, I definitely felt it. Again, not as not I'm not dark to where it affected me in that way, but I definitely felt like there was some preference for the people that I was around. I got Vicky on the
Hey,
stage.
hey, Vicky.
Hey,
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
I am
We're
good.
great.
I am good.
So, um, I kind of had an experience like Miss Boogie Down. I was kind of, I won't say the outcast of my family, but like for the longest time until like the maybe the third generation of my baby cousins came around.
Mm-hmm.
I was the lightest one. I was the one with the like the extremely curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
They used to call me white girl. And the fact that I was the only one who went to private school, but that was because my mom we are from the Desire Projects. Like we
Okay.
come, my mom when she got pregnant with me, and she had me at 16, and so she just kind of hustled and struggled to. She wanted something different for me, and because I never really had a strong New Orleans accent because my mom did not play that. She made me start code switching very early on, and like she just when I would now now she's kind of lax about it because when we go back to New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
they get like my mom laughs at me now because she's kind of laxed on her vernacular now.
Mm-hmm.
And then when people hear me speak and everybody just giggles at me because I sound the way I sound, and I'm like, listen, you raised me to speak this way.
Right.
Now,
Right.
I had an accent like when we moved out here to Vegas. I had an accent to Vegas people, but in New Orleans, no. I was white girl, and that was my nickname, white girl.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody like on my mom, I was raised on my mom's side of the family, and they were all like dark skinned, and so I just kind of I I was very naive. I thought one day I would just it would my color would automatically come in. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, someday I'm going to like, I love my grandmother. I love my grandmother. God rest her soul. She's a darker skinned woman. She's not, extremely dark, but she's like a mahogany brown. And I thought, okay, one day I'm gonna look like my grandmother. My mom she's a little bit darker than me. She's probably like a caramel color,
Mm-hmm.
but again, I was the lightest one, and I kind of felt like an outcast because even my cousins, when I would go back and I go around them, I'm an only child, so when I would go around them and hang out, they're like, this my cousin, talk, and they would they would like make me she could read real good, and
Mm-hmm.
they'd make me read pages, and I felt like an outcast, but it is what it is. I mean, for a while there, I understood that I was different, and and another thing is like my dad's side of the family. I was too dark for their side of the family.
Really?
Yes, so
Wow.
they denied me because they said I was too dark, and I was I was a high yellow baby. I was a beige baby, and they pretty much denied that that I was his biological child. So I can see where Bank is coming from in the work environment. I have seen the difference, that
Mm-hmm.
I get the way I get treated to another, a darker skinned woman gets treated, because I'm very standoffish in person because I'm shy in person,
Mm-hmm.
and I am. It takes me a while to warm up,
Okay.
and they're, you know I like a personable darker skinned black woman
Mm-hmm.
will say something, and I can say the same thing, and then they'll get dismissed. And then me being the standoffish person that I am, they'll accept me. Oh, Victoria, that's so great. That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I've seen like some supervisors. Like, I have a real good friend, Shannon. We
Mm-hmm.
had one supervisor. The supervisor, Shannon is like such a great person, and she's so sweet. And then again, me being the standoffish kind of cold person, just, I keep to myself. My body language is generally kind of is closed off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she would snap at Shannon, and then like, oh, and the supervisor would come running up to me, hi Victoria, how are you? And I'm like, whoa, okay. And we would just look at each other, and I'm like, she and Shannon, she's such a good person. She didn't say anything. I'm like, you want me to say something to her? Like,
Yeah.
but I've seen the difference, and I know that I've seen it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Where guys will come up to me, as opposed to like maybe a friend who's better dressed and who's darker skinned. I know that there's a difference, and that there's that colorism, and I know some of my physical attributes lean towards the Caucasian in me,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm pretty much Creole.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm I we did our ancestry, and it's like, whoa, I'm almost white.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it for me, just like with the family experience,
Mm-hmm.
we love each other. It's just I did get treated different, and I thought light skin was pretty much, it was bad, and I thought I was going one day. I really did think the magic was gonna come. I thought I was gonna get that color, and
Yeah.
then once I matured, I realized, okay, this is just the way I am, and
Right.
I had to accept my hair, because they were like, I can tell you, they didn't understand my hair.
Mm-hmm.
So they convinced my mom to put a perm in my hair at 4 years old,
Ooh.
because my mama didn't know how to comb hair, and to make it easier on her, they put the perm in at 4, and that was in the 80s. So they, of course, they didn't have any kitty perms, but we know there's not a difference.
Right.
So they
Right.
they put the perm in my hair. Of course, it was burning. It was at my auntie's house. My auntie's water got shut off. So then we had to go around the corner to my cousin Mona's house, and she didn't have any water pressure. So they had to take water out the toilet tank and rinse my hair out. My hair was full of sores. So from
Wow.
that point, yeah, I mean, because they just didn't understand like the curls in my hair. It's like it was,
Mm-hmm.
my hair wasn't just the simple hair that you could flat, put the hot comb through, and it would stay straight. It wasn't. It's not coarse, super coarse. So
Mm.
it's on the light skin spectrum. It's not. I'm not gonna sit here and say woe is me, because I have had advantages.
Okay.
I have been treated in a different manner from
Okay.
somebody who's dark skinned. I'm not gonna sit here and make these laments and say, oh, woe is me. But I have felt it nice, and I've gotten bullied in school before, because I went to private school, Catholic school, and at one point I switched to public school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taught how to act like a little lady, and
Mm-hmm.
I spoke proper. Um, the girls would come up to me like, "You think you're all that?" I was like, "No, I don't, 'Cause I don't. This is just the way I am." And I've always been a small stature, and I stayed 60 pounds until I was 12, but I used to get beat up,
Mm.
because they assumed that because I was light skinned,
Mm-hmm.
and I I used to cross my legs as a little girl. I didn't act womanish. I act like a little lady, and that was just because of what the Catholic school taught me and what my mom instilled in me, you know, I've kind of had some rough spots. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not always easy on this kind of high yellow spectrum either.
So I'm interested in I've had misbehaving coming up and down, up and down. Misbehaving, are you with us?
Hey, Native. Yes, I'm with you. I'm sorry. I am having trouble with StreamYard. I'm not the best at
Okay.
this, and I don't know how to make my avatar come up. So
I
I'm
don't know why
sorry.
it's doing that. I noticed that. I don't know why it's doing that.
So I was trying
But
to get it right, but I couldn't.
no, you good. You
Um,
good. You good.
I
What you
appreciate
got?
you for having this panel discussion, and I just wanted to share that I'm like one of the Black women that are in the middle because I would be considered caramel.
Mm-hmm.
So not light, but not necessarily dark. And I've
Mm-hmm.
always found darker skinned men to be beautiful. And
Mm-hmm.
I've always looked at darker skinned women as extremely beautiful
Right.
because like they didn't require makeup. Most of them didn't. Skin smooth,
Mm-hmm.
like no blemishing marks. And I just growing up, this just kind of takes me back to growing up. And my siblings are all of a lighter hue. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
the darkest out of all of them. And I used to feel a certain type of way, but not because of anything that our parents did. My mother is about my complexion. So I always think that I always felt like she gave me an extra hug to make me, just feel better, just because she knew,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's experienced this in society. Um, but the one thing I want to share with every woman that has shared their story is that we are all beautifully and wonderfully made. We are the descendants of kings and queens, and we are all beautiful. We are. And that's all I wanted to share.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, and you are 100% right. I do think it's
Yes.
interesting. So we have Vic, who's expressing her story about being light skinned and the light skin privilege that she's experienced. Black Auntie has shared her story as well, as far as on the other side of it, and now we have Miss Behaven saying that she is kind of in that middle zone. I considered myself kind of in that middle zone too, and it's interesting because you do kind of get both perspectives. But just to add on to anyone that is just coming into the chat, you are enough. You are beautiful. You are wonderfully made, and and I can't express that enough because there's so many people that are searching and they're searching for themselves and they don't even realize that they are looking at themselves in the mirror and what they're seeing in the mirror is enough. So if you know somebody or if you're going through that, just know that your tribe cares. Your tribe wants you to know that you're great and that you are enough. So
You know,
so
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
no, no, go ahead, I was done.
I was going to say, thank you, Miss Behaven, because I believed I said something like that to myself, to my 16-year-old self. It probably wasn't those words, but
Hmm.
that's what it was. It was that self affirmation, and that comes from self love and acceptance. And I know
Hmm.
it's hard. It's not something easy. But also to what Vicky was saying too about understanding privilege. I have a privilege that I never again recognized until and I would think I was just having a conversation. It was a casual conversation, maybe with my niece. I don't know, but I have the privilege of nobody ever questioning my ethnic background. Nobody's ever
Hmm.
asked me, "What are you mixed with?"
Right.
Never.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm clearly black. But I had a good, really, really good friend in high school. This was probably a little bit lighter than Vicky. It's sandy brown hair all the way down past her waist,
Hmm.
and she was constantly. Both of her parents were black. They were just light skinned. But she was constantly questioned, "What are you? What are you? What are you?" Are you mixed? I even thought she was mixed. I had to fess up to her, biracial. I had to fess up before I really got to know her. I thought she was
Mm-hmm.
biracial. So I'll never forget her saying to me. I don't know, we were probably in the 10th or 11th grade. She said, I'm going to marry the blackest man I could find. So no one will ever question what my kids are. And she
Mm-hmm.
ended up marrying actually a guy from the continent. I believe he was Nigerian.
Mm-hmm.
So she held true to that. But it goes into that whole thing. We're all me, Vicky, Miss Peg, we're expressing a lot of the same things.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said. That's why I said. It really is there a difference? It's just almost like they're trying to divide us because that's one thing that was never going to come between me and my actual blood sisters or my
Mm-hmm.
friends who I consider sisters. That a man or society was going to make us not be friends based off of skin tone. Because I think it was Miss HLS said in the chat that had been light skinned with long hair was a reason for people just to dislike her immediately. And I was telling
Mm-hmm.
her as a young kid, I was just because like I said, my family was very brown. And then when I got like in elementary school and everything, I started getting exposed to all the different colors we were, even though it was in my family, but I'm talking about little girls. And I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to befriend everybody. I'm just a people person. If I like you, I like you. But another thing that goes along with colorism is texturism. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I would get a pass because my hair I had quote unquote good hair and it was long.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh yeah, you're a chocolate girl, but look at your hair, it's so long. Oh my
Yep.
God, it's so pretty. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Like I didn't like what do you do with that when you're a kid? My parents and my immediate family paid it no never mind. And I think that's probably why I just realized it wasn't no big deal. Like I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
that was not gonna that was not gonna save me from a whooping if I messed up in the house. It
Right.
didn't make a
Right.
difference. Oh, and I saw that with my light skinned friends and my brown skinned friends. That like my friend I said it was really cute and petite and every boy wanted her. When she went home, she was just who she was. Her parents, she didn't get no special privilege when that door closed because she was light skinned. So that's how I kind of look at it. I don't understand. I wish it wasn't a thing. We're starting to see even, now if you go to TikTok and it's crazy what these young people have to process in the age of social media. That's why I'm kind of glad I don't I was able to become a fully realized adult without it. But that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to say. I wanted to add to the conversation.
I love the
Um.
hair thing. Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
do
the
have.
hair.
I got Miss Boogie. Miss Boogie down. Let me
Yeah.
make your presence known on the stage.
He's so silly.
I
I
got
love
Miss
that she
Boogie
segued,
down on the
excuse me,
stage.
not she, black auntie, beautiful black auntie. She forgot that other D in there.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Thank you.
hair thing, you are very welcome. The hair, I'm so glad she got into I didn't, really relate to so much of the negativity of the brown or the light part. Like I said, we're all different hues in my family. It's five kids and, both parents being different complexions. But man, that hair is something else. Now, both of my sisters growing up had hair to the middle of their backs aiming toward their butt. Not myself. My hair texture
Mm-hmm.
put me where it's like literally my dad's side has Indian in their family and it reflects in my hair
Mm-hmm.
till this day. And so both of my sisters had to do perms. I didn't have to do that. You put some water, some gel in my hair or whatever have you.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, for those of us dating ourselves, aging ourselves, we had the hot comb. Now they do the flat iron.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I didn't need all of that heat and stuff like that to the hair. But I experienced the prejudice on the hair texture side because it was just like, well, why does your hair look like that? And a lot of my friends had kinkier hair.
Mm-hmm.
So alongside with the colorism, you had the other segue, which was the hair texture. And it was just like, what are you talking about? Like, and if I would go to my friends, like, hang out with them for the weekend or whatever, spend the night sleepovers or whatever, my mother was very adamant, don't let anybody touch my hair. And long story short, supporting what Victor the Veil was saying about the perm, I'll never forget one of my good friends, her mom tried to give me a perm at like 12 years old. My girlfriend Keisha was a year older than me, and Miss Betty, her mother, rest her soul, tried to give me a perm or whatever have you. But some told me, man, don't you walk in that house with no perm. I called my mom up real quick or whatever, and I was like, yeah, Miss Betty wants to give me a perm. And my mother came down the hall and she picked me up from the sleepover, and I heard her saying some very unflattering words to Miss Betty about, the hair thing or whatever. But I wanted a perm because both my sisters had, needed or required a perm. I wanted a perm because I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to be
Right.
down with a
Right.
lot of the black girls who had perms or whatever have you, but I didn't. And my mother used to say, you don't need a perm, and you'll understand why when you get a little bit older. But at 11, 12 years old, I don't understand this conversation. I wanted to fit in. So it's funny how we talk about the colorism, but we also forget about the hair texture too. That plays a lot. I didn't know until like I was maybe like in my teen years. I used to hear friends say like nigger naps to people, or peasy head for the boys with like low hair because they had very tight curls, as we would call them now.
Or
But they would say,
cookabugs or BDBs.
right, right. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So even when you seen it with Martin Lawrence, right, on the Martin Lawrence show, and he used to call Pam BDB and
Mm-hmm.
buckshots or whatever have you, like I was just like, like, okay, people are laughing like this is comedy, but the flip side of that is like, I don't think for those of my friends who had very tight curls, very kinky, excuse me, hair, I don't think that was funny for them. And so it's like taking the N word and now we try to make it, like our word, as I was hearing Jay-Z say many years ago when Oprah still had her show. But there's
Mm-hmm.
still like a lot of hurt behind it. So it's just weird, like how we just take things and we try to like manifest it and try to make it into a positive, but it stems from a very ugly place. And to try to make it jokeful, I think is our way of processing things or whatever have you. But it's just like now, man, I am so grateful for my hair texture. But as a kid, I really did want the kinkier hair. I wanted to fit in with my friends. I wanted to understand their plight and what they were going through. Like my friends did not swim because they
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to get their hair wet. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
till this day, one of my girlfriends got married in Key West in like 2015. And in
Mm-hmm.
2015, this grown woman like myself is literally sitting up there like, you gonna get your hair wet? And I'm like, I'm here. We are at a beach resort. Like, what else are we supposed to be doing? Like,
Right.
like
Right.
this is what we
You know what, Miss
doing.
Boogie Down? Like when I was younger, I didn't really understand my hair, and when the first time I got that relaxer, that perm, my mom was just when she got me back from my cousins, all she could do was cry because I just my head was full of sores, and she just cried. So after that, it was I would always, I was like you, I would always beg for a perm. Like I want my hair, like, because it was, the thing was fresh roots. I gotta have fresh roots because my
Right.
cousin my the cousins on my age bracket, they always had their hair done, and then my mom, she was always like, try to put it in a couple of ponytails or whatever, but they had their hair done. I want fresh roots, and I want to get my hair done like, like T or somebody. And I don't, now I do wish I had coarser hair. Because sometimes I look at, people, like I have a really good friend, and she grows the most luxurious afro, and I'm like, wow, because my hair is fine, and it's kind of like, it doesn't really, if it can get heat damage very quickly. I don't really color it anymore because it can, it's because it's so fine, it can, it can get messed up really quick.
Yeah.
So I love, and I wanted to comment on, I forgot who that was who said about the, everybody's beautiful. Everybody is beautiful, and like I said, that's why when I was younger, I thought my magic was coming, because I used to think that being light skinned wasn't, like, because I used to be called white girl, white girl. So I thought like my magic wasn't there, and I used to think my magic was coming. And I generally am attracted to black men, but like, and I thought that, and even now I'm like, I wish I had the hair of a normal black person, because it, when I look at some of the hairstyles that black, women with coarser hair can pull off, I'm like, damn, I can't do none of that. Even when I try to put some Kankalon hair in my hair, the hair
Mm-hmm.
just, hair sticks out. I can't. I gotta constantly put. I don't. I have like water and grease hair. If you, I'm dating myself now too. So I have.
Not to interrupt you, but I just want you to, I want to tell you that I'm sorry for what was done to you as a kid. And I know it has nothing to do with me,
That's so
but
sweet.
I know that it traumatized you and you didn't deserve that. And I'm just so sorry that that happened to you. I really truly am.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, I'm more now that I'm getting older. I'm more accepting of myself. You know, this is the color I'm gonna be. And this is the hair I got. You know, it is what it is. Um, sometimes I ain't gonna lie, I use it to my advantage if I need to, because sometimes it is what it. I gotta, especially at work, if I gotta get something passed, if I gotta get the day off, and they want to treat me special, I gotta. That's what I gotta do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I ain't mad
Appreciate
at
that.
you.
I
I ain't
I
mad
think
at you.
the importance of these conversations is that healing factor because you know Vic, you probably have gone past it, but there's a lot of people to this day, grown people, Sonya, people like her who aren't past it. You know what I mean? Like they are
Mhm.
still holding on to that self hate, and self hate is the worst hate because you're around the person that hates you the most all the time. So
Yep.
that's powerful to be able to forgive the people around you, but then also forgive yourself because it wasn't anything that you did. This is how you were born, this is how you were made, and all you were trying to do is put your best foot out there. As a kid, we don't have any control over any of these things, and we don't understand the backlash as a kid. That's the most important part. When kids experience colorism, it's the worst because they don't understand it. They don't have a concept of who my friends can't be or why my cousins won't play with me. My nephew experienced it, and my nephew experienced it
Mhm.
because he was dark skinned, and my sister married a light skinned gentleman, and this gentleman decided that he didn't want my nephew, who was not his son, to come inside and play with the other kids. He had to stay outside with the dogs.
Oh,
My mother found out
What?
about this. My mother found out about this and almost exploded. But this was the mentality, and this is how he treated a four. I think my nephew may have been 5 at the time. You know, kids don't get that,
Mhm.
and that does something to you. So congratulations to you, Vicky, for being resilient enough to overcome it. But there's a lot to Miss Behaven's point. There's a lot of people that need that apology, even if it's not from the people that did it. It's I'm sorry that that happened. I'm sorry that
Right.
you went through that as a child because it can be devastating even as you become an adult. So so that part of it is important, and also I left your comment on the screen, misbehaving, because as much as people like to say, well, get over slavery, slavery this, slavery that is in the past, these things that we deal with are often generational, and
It
they
is.
often have been passed down from
Right.
that time. As even though it's been over with and we are moved past it or whatever we want to say to make ourselves feel better about the situation, it was a thing that happened, and there are still ramifications that are being passed down generationally.
well,
I
look at the
watched.
mindset too with the politics, right? Real quick, you got this whole make America great. When you look at it, America has never been great
Right.
because we have slavery in our, you know what I mean? Because we have discrimination, because we have women who forget the fact of our color, just are always going to be second and third class citizens until
Right.
we start making other changes. So, when we are already prone to think that we're something that we're not, like again, a great country. No, we're actually not a great country. We can become a great country, but when you have schools, and I'm sure you notice more than any of us native being a Florida native, you
Hmm.
know, when you have people trying to take history out, how can you teach people about being better or whatever have you when there's no accountability? You can't
Right.
remove something that was done just because you take it out of a book,
Hmm. Right.
or just
Mhm.
because, and then the worst thing to me is having these kids explore and figure out things sometimes on their way without some sort of blueprint. Nothing really good comes out of that. Like, I had to have somebody teach me how to walk. I had to have somebody teach me how to run. If I would have tried these things on my own, it may not have come out to be as successful, or I might have hurt myself before I, was able to do these things. It's the same thing like with driving. There's always got to be some sort of blueprint. So if you remove history from, generations, and not even allow them to know where they come from, good or bad. You know what I'm saying? You perpetuate the ignorance that's going to continue with them, because you can't get better if you don't know better. And if
Right.
you don't know where you came from or where your ancestors, like those who were, I remember reading something really quick with Ben Affleck a few years ago. There used to be a television show, I believe it was on NBC, and they
Hmm.
used to go with these different celebrities, and they used to find out about, like their
It's
ancestry.
like
Yeah.
who am I
And
or something like
right,
yeah.
yes. And he tried to remove when he found out that he was the descendant of like slave owners. And it's just
Hmm.
like a lot of people your complexion are going to have that in their background. But he tried to literally remove these facts and made a big stink about them airing the episode that he was on, and it ended up becoming public knowledge anyway. So again, what you tried to run from, only it was you brought more awareness to it, and now you brought awareness to it, and in a fact of you're ashamed of something that you really shouldn't be ashamed of, because you yourself were not a slave owner, but yes, you do come and you are the descendant of slave owners, so you know better, you do better in how you treat mankind or whatever have you. But he didn't see it that way, and that's where we are in this world. We don't see where our problem is, that we have to really learn to forgive ourselves, you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying, and then do better just among one another, you know what I mean, and stop running from. And it's funny, we talked about Sonia real quick with the colorism, yet you are dealing, Nesto is not a light man, so
No.
it's just like what you claim to hate
It's weird.
on one aspect, you're really, really attracted to in the next. And it's just like, it, once again, it's weird,
Yeah.
right? But we just look for so many reasons. And I just want so many of us as just Black people to just love ourselves so much more than what we do, and what we settle for or whatever have you. I don't care if you're brown, if you're light or whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
Black is so many shades of us. Even looking on this little panel of those of us who are able to have our pictures up, like, it's so many different shades of us, and there's so much beauty in each and every one of us on here. You know what I mean? Like, it's like literally they hate me because they ain't me. Like, there's no other race that can pull this off like we do. There's
Look,
no other race that can pull this off like we do. And every race seeks us, whether it be white women or Asian women looking at Black men, or Hispanic men looking at us, Black women, or whatever. Everybody is trying to be part of us, but yet we're so hated, and it's crazy to me. I don't get it.
look. Let me tell you something. My little avatar is so blessed right now to be up here with these other avatars up here. Because yes, there is a lot of beauty just in this little group right here, and I'm fortunate to be a part of it, and I appreciate all of you all. Let's see. I have Pinocchio,
Who?
the checkard master.
I'm gonna drop down native so to make room for other women. Thank you
You,
so much for allowing us to be in this space and for you to be a Black man to allow us to be in this space. Thank you.
listen,
And
did you have?
Misbehaving, you are gorgeous too. I'm looking at your picture on the YouTube side.
Yes,
You
you are
are
misbehaving.
beautiful.
You are beautiful.
Thank
You
you.
are
Thank you guys
You
so
are
much.
gorgeous. Yes,
Thank y'all.
ma'am.
Thank y'all. And much love to everybody. We are all beautiful.
Thank you,
Yes,
thank
They
you,
thank you,
hate
ma'am.
thank you.
us.
misbehaving.
They hate us because
They
we
are.
mean us.
That's right.
Pinocchio, did you have anything you wanted to add before you jumped off, or did she already jump off? No, you're
I
still
think
here.
she's still there.
Did you have anything that you wanted to add? I mean, feel free.
Yes, hi everybody. Can y'all hear me?
We
Hey,
can.
hey, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Oh yeah, so I just wanted to say something, maybe a little off topic, but not really. I want to say one of my favorite movies, Shaka Zulu.
Mm.
Those were some of the most beautiful people. So when I was younger and I seen that, I was like, "Oh my God, these are some of the most beautiful people." And like I said before, well, was saying in the chat, um, my most of mine came from family. My sister, where my parents were dark skinned. my brother and I were both light skinned, and she used to always tell us we're adopted. So she used to hurt our feelings, but it was not too much of anything that I couldn't handle. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cousins called me crazy names, Jap Baby,
Mm-hmm.
Chinatown, other little crazy things. But they didn't really bother me to the point where um, I would say it made me have a complex because I have dated an array, light
Mm-hmm.
skin, dark skin, high yellow, everything but white.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I can say. My son, he's the little chocolate drop of the family, and my two girls, they're of lighter skin. So, only thing that really ever I got asked a lot in school was I mixed, and my answer was yes between my mama and daddy.
Love it.
So
Love it.
that
Love it. Love it.
was that was really all I could say because it never really hurt me to a point where um I would go cry about it because,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, it started from home. So when I got to school, my sister already did the damage at home.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
So let
getting to
me ask you
school.
this. Let me ask you this real quick. So you mentioned your son. So are you conscious of like his experience as far as like I know you say he was chocolate drop, so I assume he's dark. What did you do? Are you conscious of the encouragement? Are you conscious of the things that he might be going through with his friends? Like
Oh,
because of what you went through?
oh, definitely. When I did have to go up to the school one time for him, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people were like, "That's not your mom," only
Mm-hmm.
because I'm lighter skin. But I am conscious. I've always told him all the time. He has a very strong name, and I tell him, "You are named that because of you and your strength. So
Mm-hmm.
just remember that you are what people want. Your melanin is what people want. So know that you are what people want. You're valuable. Don't ever let nobody ever tell you that you're not."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then my daughters, as far as like hair, because they've never had perms, and my
Mm-hmm.
daughter does hair. My oldest daughter does hair,
Mm-hmm.
but never had perms, and so I always tell them your hair is beautiful. Um, yeah, I I'm very conscious of what they would have to go through, being that my daughters wouldn't have. I was not going for that,
Mm-hmm.
and being that my son is dark skinned, why we wasn't going for that. Like I said, that's not. It, he's never come home and said anything about anybody saying. The only one that will pick on him again is an uncle. So it's more so family, not really
The
outside.
outside. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's that's powerful, but I feel like it's important, because like I said, that's been a common thread through this whole conversation that we've been having for this whole almost hour and a half has just been, you know, how did your parents, make you feel about you? The closest people, the people that you see every day. You know what I mean? Like that's just been a common thread, and I feel like the people that didn't have that are the ones that kind of like because to use Sonya as an example, she wasn't close to her mother. Her dad apparently wasn't that close to her either. So I feel like when it's like that force field or that shield. If it's away from you and it's not blocking out those things, anything can come into your mind and affect your self esteem.
Right.
Yeah, I
And,
agree.
and I'm kind of it maybe a little bit, well, it might be a lot off subject, but it's not off subject
Hmm.
because, and I actually typed it out because I didn't want to forget this because I know you're really into the movies and, all that good stuff.
Okay.
And, one of the things that I noticed in my, I guess the time frame was in my 20s was when Felicia from Friday, hit the scene, and she
Hmm.
was a light skinned quote unquote crackhead. And
Hmm.
we had always been told that crackheads don't look like her.
Hmm.
The same thing with Halle Berry in Saving Isaiah.
Hmm.
And again, the outside the problems that people had with that movie, the portrayal of what a crackhead looks like. And it was to me, and even for them as actresses, think about it. They're pigeonholed as actresses.
Hmm.
Halle Berry
Hmm.
was
Agreed.
the darling of Hollywood. And she wanted to take this gritty role. and they actually let her have it, they probably would have gave it to somebody else,
Mm,
darker skin. So I find that that's very interesting, and I don't really watch much cinema, movies from today. I don't know how
mhm,
that's. I know what is her name, Zendaya. I know she likes
mhm,
to take really gritty roles, and
mhm,
I appreciate that. And like I said, but they are a part of the whole colorism scheme too.
mhm.
It is what it is. We know that in Hollywood, how they have roles for us,
Right,
literally. But
right.
anyway, that was a little off topic, but it was kind of. I just wanted to make sure I get that in
It,
before I forgot it.
Thank I
it's
Go ahead. I'm
it's
sorry.
not really off topic though, because the colorism that affects us like as a community has a lot to do with the images that we're shown. So those movie producers and those casting directors who are, like we want, and in some cases I've heard of actors that are like, I'm not going to do a love scene with a dark skinned person. I'm not going to do this with or I'm not going to be involved in on screen with a. I've heard those demands being made as well. But a lot of casting directors, when they want, I think there was a story of Bill Cosby when he was trying to get um, a love interest for Theo, and he said he wanted her to be attractive, and he named off some other things, and his casting director went and found and gathered every light skinned woman he could find to be Theo's love interest on the Cosby Show. So I think like when the word beauty is synonymous with light skin tone, yeah, it is topic. It is on topic because those things are the images are so powerful. When you think about how many people go see a movie and you look at what that movie grosses, and then you talk about it coming on Netflix or it comes on HBO, whatever. A lot of people lay eyes on those things, and those images are super powerful. So yeah, I totally think it's on topic.
Okay, well, I'm glad I brought it up.
I wanted
Absolutely.
to. Y'all were making a comment about like I don't know who said it. Maybe it was Miss Boogie Down or yeah, other young lady who was up here about being asked if you were mixed and those weird questions because you just can't be like an attractive woman if you're a black woman.
Right.
I can't tell you. I when I was 18, I worked at Ross and I worked around a bunch of Filipino ladies and they were very nice ladies. But I don't. Maybe they knew better. Maybe they didn't know any better. Like, oh, what are you mixed with? Like, I would just say I'm black. I didn't say I was. I didn't go into details about being Creole or whatever. I just said I'm black. Oh, you're very pretty for a black girl.
Mm.
And I can't tell you how many times over the years I've heard that from, especially from people who are not American.
Mm,
And again, whether they know better, maybe they don't understand that that's offensive because it's
I
right.
like,
think that's part of what
huh?
it is. I think
Yeah,
that's part of what it is. Yeah.
for a black girl or for a black woman is like, what does that mean?
But
You don't.
I've traveled to Southeast Asia, and I'll tell you, one of the issues, Vicky, really quick. Well, hopefully it'll be quick. I apologize. Is that they don't really have a reference point for race, like black people and racism, because everybody in their country looks like them or a version of them. Whether they're, because I was in Thailand, so whether they're from Korea, China, they're from Southeast Asia or Japan, Malaysia, they all kind of look alike. And but when they decide to come over here to the United States, they're all of a sudden they got to take a crash course in United Statesisms, and they learned all the stereotypes, and they're the things you shouldn't and shouldn't do, and the people you shouldn't be around. And I think they've been told a lot of negative things about black people, and then when they actually get to know us, and again they don't have any reference point. I mean, they do have colorism. Don't get me wrong, they do. The skin whitening is really big in Asia, but it's not the same thing. It's a little bit more nuanced. But I think that's probably why you get that from Asians especially. But I will say one thing I found interesting. You I used to get you're pretty for a dark skinned girl, dark
Mhm,
skinned black girl. You got the same thing for just being, you know, a black girl. So it's levels to this. It's just passed down, they're just repeating and mimicking from the majority basically.
mhm,
Yeah, it's been over the years because I used to get mistaken for Ethiopian when I was in college out here because we have a a good sized Ethiopian community out here, and it got to the point where I understood their greeting because they would just come up to me, and finally I'm just like, no, I'm not Ethiopian. Oh, but you're pretty though. You know,
Hmm.
it was things like that. It's like, wait a minute, you are black too, okay? I don't care
Hmm.
if you are, you, so what? You know, you're Ethiopian. That is in Africa, and you are black too. So don't do that. Like even going to my down in Florida, native. Sorry about
Yeah,
this, but
yeah, right.
Florida get mistaken for Dominican, Cubans,
Hmm.
and they when I was on my cruise recently, they automatically assumed I spoke Spanish, and give you that funny look because my mom and I both we both got the funny looks, and she just accepted. She's like, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I know I'm black and I'm beautiful, and it is what it is, But me, I still have that sensitivity where it's like, don't do that. Like, because I find all shades of black people beautiful. Like I love Sudanese people, like really dark. I love looking at dark skinned like Sudanese people, like some of the models that they get from there.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, even I can, you can kind of start telling who's Nigerian, who's Ghanaian, like, just kind of looking at their, I think it's what's I forgot what it's called when they have a certain look to them. So I mean, I find all black people beautiful, but I just don't like when especially us African Americans, they discount like our beauty because we are different
We're a
because
mix
we've
of all the tribes. We are a mix of all of their tribes.
right.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
That's what we are.
And I think like, and then going to what you just said, Vicky, it kind of reminds me that like we are black, right? We are that. That's what we are. That's our base, right? So whenever I see like, for example, a Christina Aguilera who decided that for 6 months she wanted to be black and
Right.
put some cornrows in her hair and co-opted blackness for as long as she needed, and then once her record label said that's enough, put her hair back the way it was and was white again. And the same thing that happens as far as like when we talk about texture, we also have to talk about hairstyles as well as texture, right?
Mhm.
Because black women in workplaces and in military situations and all these things are constantly being harassed, not only about texture, but about style and how we
Right.
style our hair. But a Christina Aguilera and fill in the blank on anybody else can
Miley
borrow those
Cyrus.
styles. They can borrow those styles, make their money, because she came out with that song "Dirty," which was kind of offensive because she took on a black style and now all of a sudden she dirty. But whatever, whole other topic, whole other situation. But it's kind of crazy that they can just borrow our stuff, make their money,
Well,
do what they need to do, and then come back to where they originally started at,
well,
and we
I'm
still
probably
don't.
the only person on this panel. Well, I don't know. I think I am. I remember Bo Derek with the braids. We were sorry with the beads.
She was
Excuse me, I
10.
haven't getting my hair braided. I've been sitting under that torturous twist of my scalp since I was, as long as I can remember, getting beads all summer. What do you
Hmm.
mean you discover beads? The
Hmm.
Kardashians tried it too. We know they appropriated from us. We already know it.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
we are
yeah.
the original. We everybody wants to be us, and if they don't want to be us, they want you know they want to put us away, hide us away, and
Hmm.
tell us that we aren't as powerful as we are.
Hmm.
I have to say, and it's just me, and I'm a nerd, so I love the Avengers. I love all that stuff. And I'll never forget when the Hulk was sitting, and they were having this. He was talking to Scarlett Johansson, and she was asking him how he contains the Hulk, and he said that's because he's always mad. And I'm like, that's me as a black woman. That's
Look,
me.
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
That's him.
look. Let
I
me
have
let
to
me
watch. Go
hold on.
ahead.
Let me get the quote right. How do
Mhm.
you how do you how do you control your anger? It's easy. I'm always angry. I love that. I
Yes,
love that line.
and that it's true. That resonated with me so much. It's one of my favorite lines ever.
Yes.
I should have put that in the quotes yesterday. Man,
It's It's just like the nails. They used to call us ghetto when we had the long sculptured nails, with the charms and the jewels. And now that's all the women get.
And yeah, what's crazy to your point is I, wear my hair natural. I have locks now,
Hmm.
but I did have an afro before. I've had my hair shaved all the way down to an even Steven working in corporate America wearing my African jewelry. And
Mm.
my mom would say, they don't say nothing to you. I said, what they gonna say? I dare them.
Right.
I
Right.
dare
Exactly.
them. So
Exactly.
yeah, she thought it would be a problem for me wearing what I want to wear to work.
Yeah, I was the same way. So when my hair is curly, but when I comb it out, it can be just a very large fro. One day I went to work and I tied it up with a kind of a bandana and I just let the fro hang and I got so many funny looks and I was waiting on somebody to tell me that's unprofessional because
Mm.
it not a bandana but a pretty scarf. You
Hmm.
know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like so I was waiting on them to say something because they kept looking at me. I'm like, you can't. I know it looks good. I know it
I've
looks good,
walked
so don't say
So watch
nothing.
somebody next week is gonna be trying to rock that same style.
I've walked into work with the Erica Badu head wrap and dared them to say something.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love
I
it.
dare you.
You know
I
what?
love
It's
it.
interesting. It's funny because this goes back to circling back to texturism. You're dealing with women, native,
Hmm.
but I always assume. Now I was very naive, but um, for some reason when I was younger, I always assumed that if you had long hair, you had to have quote unquote good hair.
Hmm.
And the first time I met a young lady, she was a friend of a friend, and we were probably about 14, and her hair was coarse, quote unquote, coarser than mine, but it was down to her waist. And I'm
Mm.
like, wow. And I just love the I don't know, the variety that we come in. I do. It's
Agreed.
like we're not cookie cutter in no way, shape, or form. That's why I say we are a mix of all the tribes. And
Yeah.
that's what they don't know what to do with us. We are the
And
amalgamation. We are Africa. We are the continent. Literally.
yeah, and I feel like this. I feel like when you are used to, like, let's just say you ate vanilla ice cream every single day, and then all of a sudden you go and you look at somebody that has a freezer full of strawberry, but banana split. They got some bluebell over here. They got some briars over here. They got ice cream pie. You don't. You. It would blow. You'd be like, no, 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 no. There's only one. There's only one, and I feel like that's what happens to us. You know, on their side, there's just, I mean, how many things can they do with their, you know what I'm saying, with their hair? They not a lot, right? We can do bantu knots, we can do braids, we can do, we can do all these different things. And they look at it like, no, 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 no. There's only one. You can only do one because we can only do one. No, no, no. We can do a lot. And if y'all can't do a lot, that's on y'all.
Right. And to your point too, Auntie, you know what I would also do just to make them even more upset? I
Mhm,
would buy the jewelry from people that I knew were going to Kenya
mhm.
and make sure, yeah, this is my African jewelry. I got it
Mm,
just on purpose, just to make you mad.
mm.
Mhm. And it'd be beautiful though, don't it?
Yes, it does.
Look,
Hmm.
and I bet they were saying, talking about Africa, the country, because they don't, because
The
now
yeah.
you talking about something they don't know nothing about. Africa, the country, the country of
And my
Or you
Africa.
could.
neighborhood, and my neighborhood drive-through, they're from the continent of Africa. They're from countries I'd never heard of in Africa.
Hmm.
But they my brothers. I'm like, okay, so you from the continent, all right.
Yeah,
There's
my
so
mom
much
did.
going on over there. You can't. It's amazing that somebody doesn't understand that Africa's a continent.
Right, right, right. But my mom went to Uganda for several years to do missionary work.
Oh wow.
So the pictures that she would send back would be so, like, you want to talk about pride in being black. I mean, we talking about the kids, and they would do these. So whenever they would welcome them over as being Americans, they would like do like these dances, and they were all in their uniform, their school uniforms. I mean, just beautiful skin, just beautiful. Just the
Mm.
whole scene is just beautiful because it's unadulterated. Like, these kids are not having to deal with colorism to a certain degree, because it's Uganda. basically everybody's black. So, to a certain degree, they're not dealing with those things, and it's just pure joy. And just to see them in, their natural habitat and where they live and their whole thing. Oh, it's just
Let me
beautiful.
tell you, my sister, she's got me watching some van lifers, but now she's almost got me to watching some of these channels of these African women. And
Hmm.
there's a couple of them on here. I think one of the ladies she watches all the time. I can't think of the lady's name, but she does village life, African village life. And I think my
Mm.
sister's ready to pack up and go to Africa
Hmm.
because they really kind of they prioritize their daily life prioritizes what's necessary. It's not about
Right.
drama. It's not. It's just about living. And it's like, that sounds like utopia to me. And that's like I've been so far removed from my country that I don't know that this is the space I probably need to be in.
Hmm.
Yep. And that's exactly why, Native, I did what I did to let them know I'm proud to be black. What you gonna do about it?
I
You ain't
love
never
it.
seen no black person proud to be black.
I love it. I love it. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what I used to do. I have the blackest T-shirt collection. Like, if you watch some of my videos, I have the blackest T-shirt collection probably on the earth. I mean, I used to go to work because we had
Got
when I
the free Nesto t-shirt yet?
I don't have the free Nesto T-shirt because I'm not sure how black that is, but seems like that's doing more harm to black people. But however, I will tell you that part T-shirt coming soon.
Oh,
Um, oh yeah, that part T-shirt coming soon. But no, but it was I used to go to work, and I'm working and I'm a supervisor, but we had like a really lax on dress code, so we T-shirts were fine. So I would come in every day with and people would just be amazed. They'd be like, "You wearing that?" Yes, I had my Black Panther Party shirt, established 1966. I had my Nas shirt. I had my you know the shirt I'm talking about. I had my Rosa Parks. I mean, I would just, and it was on purpose. It was on purpose. Like, I'm gonna make sure that I
Right.
buy the blackest shirts with the blackest message so that you
I'm black.
understand.
I'm black, y'all. Yeah.
Right, just so you understand, not just that I'm black, but how black I am. Like, I'm not just like, I'm not just Carlton black. I'm not Will Smith black. No,
Right.
I am banned from TV black.
I always say I'm mixed with a black and blacker.
I'm telling you, because people, because see, here's the thing, right?
I love it.
I'm from a generation of what was I was grew up in the '80s, and and I don't know, I know everybody here remembers television in the '80s. Y'all remember in the '80s when they went through this little phase where all the black women was like slaves and aunties, and they was like, you had Nell
Mm-hmm.
Carter on Give Me a Break. You
Mm-hmm.
had like Webster was a little child that was adopted by some white folks because his black parents were
Mm-hmm.
burned up or something, and it was just like the most depressing time to see black TV was in the '80s. Different Strokes. You had two black children who parents died. Nobody parents stayed alive in the '80s.
And
Um,
that's why I hate Bill Cosby because he actually, he had a great idea of for representation, and it's spoiled. The legacy is
yeah,
spoiled.
it is, and there's a lot, man. We could do a whole live on him, but honestly, like, it was like I grew up in that time when it was like being black was kind of like it was what it was. You knew black people. We weren't. Now, I'm not going to go into the romanticizing that we were all unified. That's not the point of what I'm saying. What I am saying though is that you understood where you were when you saw a brother on the train with you, and y'all was the only two people on the train. Y'all gave each other that look, like if anything go down, we got each other back. You know what I'm saying? But see,
Yep.
but here's the thing: in 2024, we're not there anymore. We're not there anymore. Like I can be on MARTA, and I can see another brother. We the only brothers on the MARTA, and I look over at him. He gonna look the other direction. Okay, well, we don't have that same sense of blackness. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
hmm and I think I don't know because we start talking generations. And I feel like as a Gen Xer, I straddle the fence of, the millennial too, because, I do remember a time, I do remember the typewriter. I remember typewriter ribbon and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
I remember
Mm-hmm.
life
Mm-hmm.
before, I remember life before word processing, but I also had to learn word processing and I had to learn how to use a smartphone. And so I'm not a boomer and I'm not a Gen Zer.
Okay.
You know, so anyway, long story of it, my point is, I think the internet, although to me, it's as a nerd, I fully, you know, I'm with it. I'm with it. But I also see where it's kind of taken out people's ability to live in reality. People are
Hmm.
sensitive. People they're
Mm-hmm.
closed off. They're closed off. And I'm not talking about just cruel things happening to them. I'm just saying life happens, and maybe it may not always feel good,
Hmm.
and that's okay, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Just be blessed to that you live to see another day.
Right.
But yeah, and I don't know. I think that I would love to see studies too. If I'm old enough, maybe they'll publish a study. Not old enough, if I can live long enough, they'll publish a study as to what the transition, basically what C-19, the effect it had totally on us in engagement and relationships. But yeah, I noticed that too because that you did used to be a common thing, and now it's just even to the point where it's everybody for themselves. You can't
Hmm.
depend on somebody to now. I mean, if somebody jump on you, people gonna pull out their cell phone not to call 911, but to record it so they can
Right.
put it up on social media.
Right. I'm gonna tell you, again, because I had that mindset of the '80s and and the nod, and we all at least like the idea of unity is not we all have the same ideas or we have the same political party. That's not the idea of unity. The idea of unity is at the end of the day, I'm black, you black, so when something happens, we know what to do. Um,
Throw the hat up.
right. So like, so like, so I learned in dating in this era that like I have to actually ask the question. You know what I mean? Because I can be getting along with somebody fine, and then all of a sudden the police did something, and all of a sudden, well, we don't know the whole. Oh Lord, we don't know the whole story. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
Lord, oh Lord, why? And I remember,
Mhm.
I remember I was having like some great conversations with a young lady, and I remember that I brought up the subject of Candace Owens because if anything, I feel like we should all be united on Candace Owens, right? We should all
Me
be
too.
able to say
Me
that this stuff
too.
was crazy, right?
No hesitation. No hesitation. Right.
And then, how about she had nerve to say to me, of all people?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of agree with some of the stuff. Oh Lord, she kind of agree with some of the
Right.
stuff.
And,
Oh Lord,
no,
oh.
that's where the compromise. That's where they want you to compromise. And people like me, I ain't compromise. You say something just that off, that's enough.
Mm-mm.
That's a deal breaker.
Nah, we ain't agreeing with Canada. Well, she does make a point. No, she don't. Because my thing with her is that like it's not what she's saying, it's who she's saying it for. It's performative. It's
Mhm.
I have these people watching me, so therefore let me talk down to black people and
The
black
grit.
women, and that's just freaking it's just so
She's
irritating.
a
So
grifter. Call it what it is. She's a grifter.
she is a grifter. She absolutely is. And if you know her story, that's what she is. It's not alleged. She experienced racism when she said she didn't. She has switched over to make money with these people. They fired her and she tried to come back to black people as if we're stupid. I get so tired of people playing with our intelligence. And
That
and
part.
yeah, and so it's like, nah. So I think like now, I feel like now I have to have my guard up. Okay, let me ask the question. How you feel about Candace Owens? Because we can't move forward with especially like with the things that I'm trying to do and the things that I know that I have coming up that I want to do that involve black people and having these discussions. I can't
Mhm.
have a partner that's like on the other side of the discussion.
Right, right, right. Right. Yeah, yeah.
I can agree. So I want to say this, and then I'm going to drop down. The movie, The Imitation of Life, is also a movie I had my children watch. My
Hmm.
dad had us watch it, and I did watch it at a very young age. So I saw the black and white, the color one. I saw them. I think it's like two or three of them.
Hmm.
But that is a great movie. If anyone is ever, you know, needing to be reassured about some things in life, that is a very good movie.
It is. It is. It's awesome. It is so awesome. Pinocchio,
Yes.
the Pinocchio, the hold on, let me make sure I get this right. I don't want to make sure I get this right, okay. Pinocchio, the professionist in checkers. Thank you so much for being
And
a
I and
part of the tribe tonight and having and I totally enjoyed your conversation and I enjoyed your input into this discussion. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I felt like Dimples was trying to egg me on, kept on putting the StreamYard link up there. So she was kind of like stepping on my foot. So I had to go ahead and.
Well, hopefully it
But
was
I
worth it.
appreciate you guys. Yes, it was. I see. Thanks for talking, and you guys enjoy the rest of your night.
You do the
I'm
same.
gonna drop my like Lady T does her final words. Kind of piggyback off of her is also to I think I might have mentioned this with you. I don't know, or maybe it was Legacy, but the book The Bluest Eye. I remember reading that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in high school and breaking it down basically chapter by chapter. It's a very it's actually to me it's one of the best books I've ever read, to be quite
Mm-hmm.
honest. Especially
Right.
with the whole identity politics and everything. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, as a woman, I have enough on my plate right now at my age, and I'm just gonna start minding my black auntie business. To be quite
Mm-hmm.
honest, and I realize you can't save everyone. That's why I appreciate forums like this. That if this makes it out and it reaches the algorithm and is pushed forward, that we're on record. I always say we're on record as having a different opinion than what the history books might tell. That's why I like to speak on this stuff. But I just feel like as humans are going to human. It's an interesting topic. We're always going to be able to discuss it. But if we just start really loving ourselves and focusing in on, that aspect of living, it would make it so much easier for people to not worry about what's my skin tone or what's the
Mm-hmm.
texture of my hair,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's a utopia that is not gained here in this time, but I can always pray for it. And again, I like these discussions because again, it opens us up to a wide array of opinions and also perspectives. So I enjoy this.
We
And with that,
can't.
good night.
Listen, we can't get past it if we don't discuss it.
You're right.
And I think that if we don't have a diverse discussion, and at least if we don't have a robust discussion, because there's so many like narrow discussions about things like this, and then but I think like having a diverse discussion with many people from many backgrounds, I think that helps us push this conversation forward and get to a solution. So that's the goal. And Black Auntie, I appreciate you so much. You are absolutely beautiful, and I appreciate you coming up.
Well, thank you very much, and you have a good night.
I definitely will. You have a good one. Look, y'all. We have Jilly May is a bougie tribe and vibing intellect who is going to bed. But Jilly May, if you catch this on the replay, just know that I appreciate you coming through to tell us good night. I really, really do. I have seen a lot of comments. I have seen a lot of comments regarding um, the way that we speak. Okay. I am not ignoring your comments. I just want to bottle that into a separate live. So if we talk about the you speak white conversation, would y'all come back for that live? Because I feel like it's a topic that would keep us here till 3 in the morning. And I got to go to my black job. So I want to table that one. I want to go back and I want to have a separate discussion about why we associate proper speech and why we associate the way that people talk with being white. How did that come about? And how do we change that? And it's a sensitive topic to me. And the reason why I said we could go on about it for a very long time is because I went through it as a kid. I was that kid that did speak. I would say not proper, but I would say I spoke like a regular person. I would say that there was nothing wrong with my speech, but because I wasn't as ebonics driven as my peers, that there was some ridicule that came along with that. But where does that come from? Why is intelligence not associated with black people when we invented everything, literally. And we are the motivate, or we are the innovators of so much. We have motivated people to chase after our style. There wouldn't be Botox without black people, because what you Botoxing for? You trying to look like us. There would be no skin, no tanning salons without us. So if we are the motivators, the innovators, the educators, and that's what we are, and all of that is rooted in our intelligence, then why do we ridicule that? And I'm really interested in that discussion and the people like me that have been through that. So if we went through that conversation, would y'all come back and would y'all come back and hang out with me? I really would love it if you did. Bank. We got two black aunties in the house, y'all. We got two black. I do not. These are two separate black aunties. I got a black auntie with no kids, and I got a black auntie. All right. So let's don't get them mixed up. We got two black aunties, and this black auntie right here is a content creator. If you have not been to Bank's channel, please go and check out what she does. I enjoy her content so much. Before you go, Southside Chi-Town, I did see your super chat. We were engrossed in our conversation. I just want to thank you for supporting the channel, supporting the platform, and supporting me. I thank you so much. I got a lot of yeses in the chat. So y'all will come back. Y'all will come back and talk with me about this because again, we can't move past these things. We can't help our children move past these things. We'll just continue to pass down the generational curse if we don't stop and talk about how do we fix it. How do we fix it? Pinocchio says, what the fuck is that? You speak white, I'll be there, but I won't come up because I get rowdy. How you know I don't want you to get rowdy? How you know I don't want the rowdiness here? This is the native tribe. We put flames in the chat. Them flames don't come from candles. Them flames come from rowdy fires. I might want you to get rowdy. So we gonna get it done. We gonna get it in. Miss HLS said I gotta go to my black job too. Miss HLS, thank you so much for being in the chat. I saw all your comments. Thank you so much for engaging. Texas Toys here. I taught country as hell as a kid, didn't learn code switching to college. Right. No, Bank, I did not talk like Nesto. Not many people do. Okay. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. Native, are you a military brat? Interesting question. I'm not a military brat. My dad was born in Pensacola. He retired from the Army in Pensacola. And when he retired, I was born. So I was born post his retirement from the Army. So technically, I am not. But I was born in the Navy hospital. So I have that legacy of being born on a Navy base. But I am not. I didn't travel and do all that other stuff like my sisters did. So there's that. So again, man, you all have no idea. We had a small crowd again tonight, and I'm not mad at that. I know there's a few other content creators that are doing their thing, so I'm not mad at that. I'm happy with the conversation that we had. It was amazing. You all are beautiful. Miss Boogie Down is ending us with some flames in the chat, and you all are amazing. So again, I want to say again to what I said at the beginning of this whole thing, that if you are listening to this, if you are around somebody that's listening to this, if you are sharing this, if you're with us here live, I want you to know that you are enough. I want you to know that you are beautiful. Whether I can see your face on your profile, on your YouTube, whether you just have your initials, whether you have an animation, it doesn't matter. You are beautiful. You are enough. And tomorrow, no matter what you do, I want you to take this and put it in your pocket. You are beautiful, loved, and blessed. And nobody can do anything about it. So, again, thank you all for your support. I appreciate all of you all. And if you're interested, I do got this little spot called V. Lenore's house. Me and V. Lenore are going to get into some shenanigans tomorrow. We are going to read some chats from the infamous Sonia Waller Durham Jackson Smith the third. And this man they call Nasty, they say he nasty. And we gonna read the text. We gonna see what they talking about and how many words they can spell wrong and mispronounce. So that's gonna be tomorrow. I appreciate you all. We're gonna meet at V's house tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that notification. We got fire in the chat as we leave. Thank you all so much. And I will see y'all hopefully tomorrow. Y'all have a good one, all right?